couple of weeks in Miami.
Yeah.
He wasn't even with the team. He's just like, I need some time. I'm like, all right, dude, but we kind of have some games we got to get to. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm out here. I got it. But last night was the first time I've seen a young group of teammates maybe push back a little bit.
And that's the point.
On LeBron. And I want to give them a lot of credit, and I want to do it now while they're in the same place, because this time tomorrow, they're probably going to be elsewhere.
I wanted to point that out, and I'm glad you put it that way, because they did. I mean, that was the worst loss of his career. And if you're sitting there, and if you're the Lakers,
the 42-point loss.
If you're one of these young players, the Kuzmas, the Lonzo Balls, the Brandon Ingrams, some of these younger players on the roster, if you sit here and you're in the offseason and you're excited to play with LeBron because the Lakers signed him, it's the biggest offseason story.
Yeah.
And then this dude's trying to ship you out for Anthony Davis, how are they supposed to respond? What are they supposed to do? How is this locker room, they're on the fringe of the playoffs anyway, I think they're down at 9th or 10th. How are they supposed to respond to the rest of the season? Because I don't believe Davis is getting up before the trade deadline. I just don't. I think there's too many advantages for the Pelicans to wait.
Well, okay, first of all, Anthony Davis should not be dealt before the trade deadline. New Orleans would be derelict in their own duty. Dell Demps would have a real problem on his hands with anybody who's paying attention in New Orleans if he were to jump at the first qualified offer. It's not to say the Lakers don't put together an enticing package. Like their spread, they bring you over to your house, like, man, look at this thing.
You think that's
this
enticing?
Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's enticing.
You think Kuzma, Ball,
yes.
Who was the latest? Ingram?
Yeah. Those are talented young players, but it's not enough.
How is that enticing? How are those guys enticing when...
We'll get to that. It's a separate topic. It is. But let's give these young guys credit, because it wasn't just the fact that LeBron's sitting at the end of the bench with 3 full seats between himself and his nearest teammate. Okay, that sends a little bit of a message, but it's also the fact that there was a timeout later in that game where the teammates get up. Okay, we'll go with the coach for now, Luke Walton. He's going to draw something up. Everybody gets up. That's customary. LeBron stayed on the bench all by himself. And I get that it's a 42-point game. You don't have some sort of rock and jock play. It's going to get you 5-6 points at a time. You're not getting back in the game, but you still do it if you're a leader of this team. You do. You get up, and he didn't.
I just have never... Randy Scott, Matt Berry, by the way, filling in for Stephen A. Smith, SportsCenter AM. I've just never encountered a player with this star power, with this wattage, that is so passive-aggressive. I've never encountered someone who wants to be an alpha so badly, but pouts in the way with which he pouts.
I'm spinning right now trying to come up with one, because he's in his own tier. Superstar.
His ability allows him to be the most coveted player to at least skill set play with. But in terms of being a teammate, I can't think of, unless you're young, like Anthony Davis idolized the guy. And he brings that up. He grew up idolizing LeBron James. But there isn't a dude that comes to a team that throws a wrecking ball to it until it figures itself out.
Here's why you need to be very careful about playing with LeBron James, okay? Because unless you can do something for him, and that's why Anthony Davis, being young, right? He's 25.
Yep. Which is amazing, by the way.
Anthony Davis can do something for LeBron that other young players in the league can't, because Anthony Davis is special. So LeBron needs Anthony Davis. Otherwise, if you do not provide something for LeBron, you are tradable at all times.
Coach included.
Yes, at all times. And what we've seen at different stops is the J.R. Smiths. I'm trying to think of other teammate friends who have sort of moved with him, you know what I mean, team to team.
Kyle Korver.
Well, yeah, I mean, Korver's been an asset because, again, he stretches the
who's another
field.
one of LeBron's guys?
He's someone that LeBron can utilize. Okay, if you have to respect Korver, so I get
You're missing the point,
open looks in the lane.
You're missing the point.
No.
Some of the guys that he brings along.
Yeah.
They're not going to challenge his authority.
That's also it, too.
Kyrie was the first one to step up and be like, you know what? I'm a pretty damn good basketball player myself, and I can run my own team.
Yeah.
He didn't like it.
No, and that's also someone who aspires to be an alpha, and I think the jury's still out on that with Kyrie. But for LeBron specifically, what you can do for job security in the NBA is buddy up to LeBron and provide something for him. Provide a service, something.
But what is that?
There is job security in that. There is. And that's why what happened or didn't happen last night on the bench, the fact that there wasn't some teammate sitting next to him, some sort of marginally NBA talented, but hey, I got to buddy up with the king here sort of thing. There was literally no one sitting next to him, and to me, that sent as much of a message as anything else.
Where does this LA Lakers thing go? Where do the Lakers go with this?
8 seed.
No, they're not getting in.
They're only 2.5 games out.
What
And
the Clippers did,
tanking.
get rid of Tobias. Yeah.
The Clippers are in the 8th seed now, and they won't be in like a week.
So you believe they could make the playoffs as an 8 seed?
I think they could, and I think they get boat raced by the Warriors.
Let me ask you. Well, everybody's gonna get.
But if you get up into the 7th seed, if they get Anthony Davis,
so they're in the 10 seed right now. Kings sit at 9.
There's some big ifs out there.
Here's what I will point
We need
out.
to have this convo tomorrow.
We can't. We're just doing radio.
I
today.
know.
Are you? By the way, are you and I on Sports Center tomorrow?
No, you and Briscoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to get my.
You got the
schedule.
Patriots coming through tomorrow.
Actual Patriots.
Who are they going to
send
Super
to
Bowl
us?
champions coming through?
Obi Melifonwu.
I think the McCourties are coming through.
The McCourty twins.
Mm-hmm.
They're nice fellas.
There's some fun there.
But if you're a superstar, if I'm Kawhi, I want nothing to do with LeBron James.
Brady's coming through.
Yeah, Tuami.
He's going to arm wrestle with Max.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Max Bredas.
Kellerman.
Oh. So say Bredas is out.
No,
in LA.
I'm joking. All right, go on.
Brady would. There's a better chance that Belichick comes on this radio show today than Brady showing up on this campus.
That's very true.
Back to LeBron.
All right.
If I'm Kawhi, who's another big superstar that's rumored to come out to L.A.? Durant's another good one.
Yeah.
These guys, I would want nothing to do with LeBron. Absolutely nothing.
Is that an alpha v alpha thing? Like there's just not enough ball to go around? I don't want to deal with
it's that he's passive aggressive, and then if he doesn't like what you're doing, he will be passive aggressive about it on social media and publicly call you out.
Should we talk about what LeBron did on social media last night?
Oh, let's please do that.
Okay,
Because it's what all-time greats do.
He goes for 18 last night. It's a down night for LeBron. He's still not 100% coming back from the groin injury, but he's there, and it's the worst loss for him in a game where he's played. I guess the Cavs had some blowouts, but he didn't play those nights. But either way, 42-point loss, the worst of his career. On social media, you think maybe it's going to be one of these, setback for the comeback, sort of like canned lines, like a video, maybe he's getting up shots in a dark gym.
Yeah.
And the cameras just happen to be rolling. No.
Just a coincidence.
He puts up the all-time scoring list, and he's 5 on that list. That's impressive. But he's congratulating himself for getting to 32,000 points.
That's what I'm saying about this guy.
He dunked on Miles Turner last night, which is impressive. But he dunked on Miles, and he gave himself a shout out on social media.
The longer it goes, I worked with someone who used to say time will either promote you or expose you.
That's good.
And the longer we see and hear from LeBron, you cannot question his bona fides. He's one of the most talented players that has ever walked the planet.
Second best player ever.
But I'm a Kobe guy.
Third best. Kobe's the third.
You think? Okay.
No, not really.
Okay.
He's sixth.
Maybe 6.5.
Go ahead.
But you lost my train of thought now because I was going with the top 6. He's one of the best players to ever walk the planet.
Yeah, the bona fides you can't argue with.
But the more that we see and hear out of LeBron, the more I just continuously lose respect for him as an all-time great because of how he acts.
Okay.
What you got the coaching list pulled up, right?
Yeah. These are coaches who have
the
run
all-time
afoul.
greats. How many coaches did Michael Jordan play for? Collins and Jackson. Doug Collins, Phil Jackson.
There might have been one before Doug, maybe one before Doug Collins. I didn't. How many guys? We'll get research on that.
Kobe played for Phil Jackson. Did he have a Rudy Tomjanovich cup of coffee? Was that in there?
Yeah, maybe.
That awkward transition between Phil Jackson back to Phil Jackson.
Did he play for Byron Scott?
Oh yeah, he may have been
I can't remember.
But the point being is that I don't know that Kobe was in it to run coaches out.
No, but Kobe has some passive aggressive in his game as well, and certainly an alpha. You cannot argue with Kobe. I mean, that's why he ran Shaq out. Like Kobe, it was going to be his team, and then he won a title with it.
All right,
and trust me, I'm not a Kobe fan like you are, but like you have to give Kobe credit for winning a title with Pau Gasol, Ron Artest. I mean,
I am so pro Kobe.
He dragged that team to a title.
So if you are the Pelicans, and you know that you possess this asset that's Anthony Davis. There was a time maybe a year or two ago when people asking who you start your franchise with. Anthony Davis, by and large, was near the top of the list. If you're the Pelicans and you're in charge of the front office, how are you handling this asset?
Oh, he's not playing. He's not playing tonight. I'm not playing him. He is. Can we say that Anthony Davis has a bit of an injury history? That's fair to say. He starts a lot of games and doesn't finish a lot of games. You know what I mean? Like he probably finishes 85% of the games he starts. Like, he'll leave with a ankle tweak, a roll, shoulder twinge, something like that. So I'm not playing him. I'm going to see what I can get before the deadline tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. But I'm probably not going to deal him because I want all players. I want everybody to be able to sit down at this table and put their best cards on the table. I don't know that the Lakers offer is going to get any better than what it is, but it'll still be there. Because they don't have anything else. But it'll still be there.
And let's talk about that because you trotted it out there a second ago. What makes that offer so great? If these dudes aren't good with LeBron, what makes you think they're going to be good in New Orleans?
No, these dudes are better without LeBron. In terms of stats, just putting numbers up, which is your best representation of what they're going to do for your team.
Data, correct.
If you trade for him, right? And Kyle Kuzma is a 20-point-a-night guy if he's not sharing a basketball with LeBron.
He's the key piece.
Brandon Ingram is mercurial. I don't know. I still can't figure him out. I think Lonzo in the right spot in a Phoenix where LeVar wants him to go. I could see Lonzo feeding Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I'm not, I'm not
Don't forget
hating
Josh Jackson.
Josh Jackson too. I'm not hating that, but like these are Josh Hart. I think has come crashing to earth, but like these are not bad pieces. But you add to that the draft picks, multiple first round picks, which how good are they going to be if you have Anthony Davis and LeBron? You have to factor that in, but like it's a decent package. I think Boston can beat it. I think the Clippers might be able to rival it. You know what I mean? Like that to me is the due diligence that the Pelicans need to do. Sorry, you brought up the LeBron coach. I want to pay that off.
The coaches he unemploys.
All right, it starts with Paul Silas, gone. Won 35 games in LeBron's rookie season. No. Brendan Malone, David Blatt, Mike Brown, and then Luke Walton will probably be reckless speculation, but like let's just say Luke Walton doesn't survive the year. Then that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches that LeBron has overseen the firing of. Not been responsible for necessarily. I think he probably has more sway on that as a 33 or 34-year-old than he did as a rookie, but yeah, that's LeBron's, that's the wreckage he leaves behind.
So really the lead story, Matt Berry, Randy Scott, filling in for Stephen A. Smith, is that Eric Spoelstra is the greatest coach of all time. He didn't get run out. He managed to manage that well.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. I mean, he survived it. He won, you want to say won LeBron's respect? Earned his respect? Stood up to him a little bit. You remember that when they bumped into each other coming out of a timeout?
Yeah, and we
blew it up.
Oh, man, what's going on? Maybe he just ran into him.
Frame by frame, Zapruder film, whole deal. So let's go back to what you had touched on pre-show about LeBron.
Yep.
And maybe a problem that goes beyond the Lakers. That's a league-wide issue with regard to players having too much control over.
Well, it is a player-run league.
Well, it is a play. It's been. I mean, you're not showing up to watch the coaches. You're not showing up. You know what I mean? Like you're showing up to see these players.
It's a player-run league in that back in the day.
Yeah, we sound so old.
Back in the 80s, back in the 90s, it's like you had the one dominant superstar on your team, and then you built the pieces around that superstar to make it a team. Now, this clique of, let's call it 8 to 10 players, all get together and decide where they want to play.
Like the Illuminati
of the NBA. Correct. And they want to play together. And if you are outside of Oklahoma City, and if I'm a GM or I'm a front office person, I'm going to get with the Oklahoma City front office.
Yeah, Sam Presti.
Yeah, Presti, and figuring out.
Scared money don't make none.
How did you make this work? How did you get Westbrook, who everyone pointed to L.A., Paul George, everybody pointed to L.A. How did you get them to stay in a small market? Because right now, unless you are Boston, Philly, Golden State, L.A., both L.A. teams, even though I think people wanted to play for the Clippers is laughable, there's 5 teams in this league that have a shot every year.
You left out the Raptors.
No one wants to go to Toronto.
But this year, the Raptors have a shot.
They're going to lose Kawhi Leonard. What's it matter?
They have a shot this year, right?
I'm not talking. But
if they win a title, you think Kawhi's a little more likely to stay?
They're not winning a title. They were the 1 seed last year. They do this every year. What haven't you seen out of the Raptors where they're going to be a top 2 seed and get bounced in the playoffs?
I haven't seen them in the playoffs with Kawhi. I feel like that's a sizable difference. I think Milwaukee can play.
He'll bail.
Who's Milwaukee? All right, listen. Just in the Eastern Conference, Boston, Toronto, Milwaukee, Philly. That's 4. Just in the East. And then in the West, Golden State, Houston, maybe the Clippers if they get their act together.
But I'm talking about the league-wide epidemic of pick and choose where you want to play. Sorry, love you, Wisconsin. No one's lining up to go play in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's a great town,
They're
man.
not lining up to go play for. And sorry, the taxes and the money in Toronto, see ya. No one's lining up to play in Toronto.
International.
Boston, people will line up and play there.
Massachusetts, though.
Philly, people will line up and play there. The other most overrated destination in sports, the New York Knicks.
You know what? You know what I'll put as overrated? As long as we're just slinging arrows, Texas. The whole state income tax thing is so overblown.
No, it's not. As someone who lived in Dallas for 5 years, I can tell you, you know what? Go put your ESPN paycheck at a bank in Texas and see how much more you like it. Seriously.
I have an app. I'll use the app
Go
on
do
my
it.
phone.
Go. Will Cain's across the hall.
Yeah.
He'll come in here in his boots and twang and tell you how much better it is out there.
I'm not gonna go toe to toe on the merits of Texas with Will Cain.
That's a lose.
Not on the Stephen A. Smith show.
You'd be bringing silly string to a fight with that. Texas is not an overrated place.
No,
they've got an owner that cares.
I'm saying it's overrated as a destination for professional athletes. It's a great place to live.
I disagree.
like the
That's
food,
why all the retired
I like
athletes
the food.
live
I like the weather. All that. So all the retired athletes live in Florida
and Texas
and California
and no, not California.
They do. Yes,
they do
in the
not.
NBA at that level of money they do. Listen, the point is, and by the way, if you play in Texas, you play in the Western Conference, so you're going to play games in California, you pay the entertainment tax regardless, whether you live there or not. Fun fact, just putting that out there. What were we talking about? Oh, players being in control? Why shouldn't they be? Why shouldn't they have a say in where they go?
They can absolutely have a say in where they want to go.
But you're saying once they sign the contract, they should stick around for the deal?
I'm saying
like the whole hey, I signed, I'm a year in, we're not one of the 4 or 5 teams Matt Berry thinks we can win the title, so I want out.
No, what I'm saying is...
Because I do have a problem with that.
What I'm saying is that the New Orleans Pelicans hit the lottery, figuratively and literally, by getting Anthony Davis, a player that you should build a franchise around. Now, it is New Orleans' fault for not doing more to build around Anthony Davis, but my point is Anthony Davis is within his own control to say, you know what, I got drafted by this team, this is where I came up, but I'd rather go play with LeBron James. I'm done with the super team thing. I'm done with it.
Yeah, but if
it's not fun anymore.
If the money's there, and listen, if you want to debate this on the merits of Clutch, as a sports agency getting involved and Rich Paul sort of architecting this thing and it's sort of all being done behind the scenes and sort of a foregone conclusion before the games are even played, I'll have that conversation. But the whole fact of I don't know, the whole fact that these guys shouldn't be able to play with guys they like in cities they want to live. I mean, if they can swing it, if they can pull the strings and get that done without bailing on a contract a year in, I have a hard time arguing
Who's looking
that.
out for Portland? Who's got Portland's best interest? Who's got Sacramento's best interest?
Portland has good pieces. Just be better on the court, win games, and they have. They fell victim to the Pelicans last year, but Nurkic is having a good season. You know what Dame Lillard is. You know what McCollum is.
I don't think Damian Lillard's long for that.
But sometimes it creates. Sometimes you have to have the right superstar. You have to have somebody who's going to fit in with Portland, which is kind of a weird place. And Nurkic is kind of a weird dude, and so is Lillard, and it works. And sometimes then you get these special areas, and it happened in Golden State, and it happened in Oakland, where you get athletes that represent the city in which they live. Maybe they're not from there, but they rep that city so well, and they fit in so well, and that can lead to some of the stuff that we talk about a decade later, a special run for a special team in that city, instead of just these hired mercenaries who are drafted in Cleveland and go play in Miami and then go chase rings elsewhere.
But that's what they do. They ring chase. Spurs didn't ring chase. The San Antonio Spurs did not ring chase during those dynasties.
And that's what
drafted those guys. They drafted Duncan. They drafted Ginobili. They drafted Tony Parker. Kawhi Leonard, they developed.
Yeah, they did.
That doesn't happen anymore. It's because of LeBron.
You're so young to be this get off my lawn guy.
I'm not that young anymore.
You're not.
I've got a 4 in front of my name.
But you look it though.
I know.
You sleep 10 hours a night. What are we?
12.
What are we banking?
For my 3:30 for my 3 a.m. wake up call for Sports Center, I go to bed at 3 in the afternoon.
Sleeping lotion.
I shovel my snow,
moisturize,
go in bath salts, and then show up at work looking like this. Our ESPN NBA insider Kevin Pelton's going to join us here coming up in just a bit. That's Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Coming up next, we'll continue with the trade deadline just around the corner. ESPN NBA insider Kevin Pelton going to join us. What will be done? Will AD stay or go? And how much sway does LeBron have with Magic Johnson and the Lakers? That's all coming up next. Randy Scott, Matt Berry filling in for Stephen A. Smith.
Hey, Peloton is a game-changing indoor cycling bike that brings the energy of live studio classes right to your home. Anytime you want, winter or summer, rain or shine. Whether it's a monthly challenge to meet your goals, a training program for your next race, or setting a new personal best, the Peloton bike will make you want to show up and keep climbing the live leaderboard year-round. On average, Peloton members are riding their bikes more every year and crushing their personal records along the way. Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom.
Learn what affects your credit scores and what you can do to improve them with Credit Karma. Maybe you need to dispute an error in your credit report, or you're paying too much interest. Credit Karma can help with that. Visit creditkarma.com or download the app now. That's creditkarma.com.
Let's see what we got.
What is this?
Hey, Portal, call Lauren. Wait, it's moving.
And if I go over here, camera follows me, doesn't it?
You can see up here, right?
Yeah. Has to like quick enough.
I see you.
Hey Casey, it's nice to see you today.
Portal. Save $50 through February 18th.
Why buy from Grubbs Nissan? Simple. It's the Grubbs Nissan difference. Besides a huge inventory and exceptional service, we offer a 3-day exchange program. If you aren't completely satisfied, bring it back. And then there's the Grubbs trade-in value guarantee. If you trade in your Grubbs vehicle, we'll pay you up to 120% of